Hello and welcome to the John Ark Show. Today's episode is called Invasion of the Real Estate Squatters. Before we begin, I want to encourage you to subscribe to our channel for free. You can also like, comment, and follow us. We're going to have a lot of great celebrity interviews coming up, so make sure you click on that notification bell so you can get notified every time we post a new episode. Now, let's get started. The eviction moratorium that has allowed millions of people to continue living in their homes or apartments without paying rent or their mortgages will come to an end very soon. What does that mean? It means that millions of people who haven't been able to pay their rent or their mortgages will be driven out of their homes or their apartments. What does that mean? Well, it means that a lot of people will be forced into finding a place to live that they may not want to live. The problem with that is that their credit has been destroyed, so their options have narrowed dramatically. Their savings have been reduced to zero. They won't have the money for a down payment or a deposit to get into a new place. And even if they did, a lot of landlords aren't going to want to rent to them after they have been unable to pay their previous landlord's rent or mortgage for the last year. Believe it or not, there are now countless landlords out there who have not received any rent payments for more than a year, and they can't pay their mortgages on their place, the place that people are renting out, so they're at risk of losing it. So then what happens? Well, what happens is we're going to have an explosion of squatters out there. These are people who are refusing to leave the places they're living in. Or in some other instances, they are sneaking into places they've never lived in and then just refusing to leave. You go on vacation, you come back, there are people living in your house. You put your house up for sale and move into another location, hoping your real estate agent can sell the house. Guess what happens? Your real estate agent shows up one day to show the house to a prospective buyer, and there are people living in it. And those people may have changed the locks. They may refuse to answer the door. They may pull the shades and give you the finger when you knock on the window. So, because of all this, we're hearing that in preparation for the lifting of the eviction moratorium, banks are now hiring huge numbers of people to help them try and reclaim these homes and these places, and it is going to get really, really ugly. Imagine what happens when millions of people are forced out of their homes. Imagine what that will look like. I believe it's going to cause an unprecedented level of chaos and pandemonium, and it's going to happen on a massive scale. If you're a landlord trying to rent out an apartment and 300 homeless people apply for your place, just imagine what trying to process that would be like administratively. The same thing goes with homes that people are trying to sell. Squatters will invade unoccupied homes that are on the market and are for sale, and then sit back and watch as the courts and the police and the banks wrestle with trying to force them out over the next year. Now, what do they do after that? I suspect they'll find another place to try and sneak into. But there's a limit on how long that can go out for. We're already hearing about desperate people living in airports until they can find something else. Others are living in people's garages or basements or on the streets to try and survive. The next option is living in your car. You would think that would be easy, but in some places, once again, like California, it's getting harder and harder to find an unoccupied parking spot for your car because there are already so many homeless people parking their cars and their RVs and their campers in these parking spots. There are some streets in Los Angeles where the entire street is lined by RVs and cars occupied by homeless and displaced families. Some people now have to drive far out of the city just to find a place to park. There are some neighborhoods in LA where there are so many RVs parked on the streets that a lot of residents can't even get in and out of their driveways. It's just homeless people trying to survive. I think it's easy to claim that society and cities should have laws against squatting and occupying people's homes. But the brutal reality is that sometimes laws can go right out the window when they're confronted by millions of desperate people. So, what happens when all these people are displaced and forced onto the streets for a prolonged period of time? What does that look like? I think it will overwhelm the police and public services. I think that we're headed into a state of perpetual crime and chaos, and nothing good will come of any of that. Let's hope the government comes up with a solution to this huge problem, because if it doesn't, then the alternative will be a nightmarish state. Thank you for watching. I want to tell you that we're going to have more great celebrity interviews coming up. So make sure you subscribe to our channel for free, and that you click on the notification bell so you can get notified every time we upload a new story. Bye-bye.